Having a lot of kids has kept our life interesting, to say the very least. Never a dull moment in the Fisher family. One time my parents drove down to visit us all the way from New Jersey. My oldest daughter, Amanda, was just a few years old at the time. We all went to downtown Monterrey and went to the bustling artisan market on the Plaza Morelos to do some shopping with my folks. As we wandered around the stalls, admiring all the unique handcrafted items and works of art, Dawn came over to me and asked me where Amanda was. I told her I thought she had her. We both then thought she must have been with my parents, but when we caught up with them, they had no idea where she was, assuming her to be with us. Instant panic mode set in. We split up and did a quick survey of the whole market while loudly calling out her name. We checked every stall and under every table, behind every curtain. We asked every person if they had seen a little blonde girl with pigtails and a pink denim jacket. My adrenaline was surging as I ran out to the entrance of the market, which opened onto a large pedestrian thoroughfare. Hundreds of people walked for miles in both directions. Both sides of the wide walkway were lined with stores, shops, restaurants, and other businesses. I looked in both directions and called out loudly my daughter's name. She could have been anywhere. If she had wandered off, I had no idea in which direction. I had a 50-50 chance of guessing correctly. I prayed, "Lord, please help me find my little girl." It had been maybe 10 minutes since anyone had last seen her inside the artisan market pavilion. I couldn't waste any more time. On impulse, I chose to go to the right, and I took off running as fast as I could, scanning back and forth, glancing into every store, asking everyone if they had seen a little girl. Nothing. I called again and again. People stared at me like I was a crazy man, and I didn't care. I was frantic. How could this have happened? Pangs of fear and panic surged through me. What if I didn't find her? What if we never saw our little girl again? I was desperate as I weaved through the crowd, calling, praying, crying. 15 minutes. I tried to calculate how far she could have walked in the time that had passed and not go too far beyond that. She was a toddler, so she couldn't have gone too far. But what if someone had taken her? I had already searched 2 blocks and figured that was probably far enough. I stopped to catch my breath. I thought about turning around and backtracking, searching again as I went, and then continue further in the other direction beyond the market. But for some reason, I felt like I should keep going. I paused and prayed, "Lord, please guide me to my little girl, please." I was torn as to what to do. I decided to keep going, 1 more block, then turn around and go back. I ran, pushing people out of my way. 20 minutes. I begged the Lord to let me find her. I was just about to turn around and head back when something far ahead in the distance briefly caught my eye, a flash of pink. I looked again but couldn't see anything. I pushed through, jumping to look over the tops of people's heads. I saw it again. I moved faster and broke through the crowd. There she was, walking quickly away from me, looking all around like a lost little toddler. I caught up to her and scooped her up in my arms. I hugged her tight as tears streamed down my face. I set her down on a bench and looked into her eyes. "Amanda, are you all right? Why did you leave us? We were so worried about you." She told me she couldn't find us and thought that we had left her. She was out looking for us. I told her that if that ever happened, to stay right where she is, in the same spot, and not move, and I promised her that we would always find her. I picked her up again, held her tight, and carried her back to the market, where we all eventually regrouped. Dawn was as distraught and frantic as I was. When she saw us, she took Amanda and held on to our precious daughter for dear life. My folks were also so relieved that we had found her. Our little girl wandered for 3 blocks in a crowded, busy pedestrian thoroughfare for over 20 minutes, all by herself, looking for us. Anyone could have snatched her up and taken her away forever, but God was with her and protected her every tiny step of the way. By His grace alone, He led me right to her exact location. I will never forget that horrible feeling of having lost our child in the middle of a bustling big city. We all were careless that day, but it was my responsibility to look after my family, and I failed. It could have turned out very badly, but God surrounded our family with His grace on that day and allowed us to find and raise our precious daughter, who is now a mother herself, who has had to keep a watchful eye on her own precious children. Thank you so much for listening to this true story from Memoirs of Mexico. If you enjoyed this story, or if it was a blessing to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing to me. I upload a new true story every day. If you like to read, you can also order Memoirs of Mexico in paperback or ebook on Amazon.com. There's a link in the description. Thanks again for listening.